How's it going, everyone? We've been talking a lot about Sparking Zero, and yesterday I was going through the comments section of the last few videos, and I noticed a lot of people commenting interesting ideas or just thoughts that I agree with a lot of it, I disagree with some of it, and I wanted to do this video highlighting a few comments with interesting thoughts. These are some of the most upvoted comments on my videos. If you guys have any thoughts or something you want to see out of this game, something that's a criticism, etc., etc., let me know in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to look through it. Obviously, these videos have been getting a lot of comments, so I can't go through absolutely everything, but whatever's upvoted, if it's an interesting thought and it's something worth discussing, I'll try to do a video on it. I've got like 7 or 8 comments pulled up here that I thought were rather interesting, and a lot of it, again, it's interesting discussion points, but let's talk about it. Right off the top, this is coming from Azrael as it gets a VTuber. I genuinely hope that they keep the game as it is. They advertise the game as unbalanced, so they need to stand 10 toes on it. So this is in reference to the Yajirobe patch, I would imagine, and there was a little bit of pushback. A lot of get good kids, a lot of he's not that bad, a lot of he's not broken, a lot of he's overpowered, but who cares? Like, the game is supposed to be some nonsense. And I get it. As far as the game being unbalanced, I actually agree with that thought process in the sense that I don't think that this should be a fighting game that has its nuances picked apart to a crazy degree, in the sense that it's not like this is a competitive fighting game like a Tekken, a Street Fighter. It's a fighting game, but it's an arena fighter. It's a game that's supposed to present the anime, and I feel like it's supposed to be a game that is more so for the anime fans. I understand there is a ranked play mode, and that may have been their undoing of presenting this game more with a competitive stance to it. What I would argue as far as unbalanced go, there's a little bit of a difference between unbalanced and just bad gameplay. I feel like Yajirobe is teetering towards bad gameplay and bad game design. When I talk about the game being unbalanced, this is one of those games that, yes, SS Blue Gogeta should be nuts. Yes, Ultra Instinct Perfected Goku should be nuts. When they bring in Beast Gohan, he should be nuts. I want the power scale to make some sense and be represented in this game. I don't want early Z Goku to be the same in terms of play as Ultra Instinct Goku. There should be a power creep attached to it. I feel like they added the point system within the ranked play where some characters are allotted a certain amount of points to try to have that power scale represented, but also have some sort of negative that is given to you if you do decide to take a 10-point Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta versus, let's say, a bunch of 3-point characters or a couple 5-point characters and transform throughout, so on and so forth. Yajirobe is a character that's worth very little points, and the Senzu Bean gimmick is a problem. I get it that some of you guys are gonna be like, get good kids, but yo, he's a 3-point character, whatever, however many points he is. He's a very inexpensive character, and his game design right now isn't great. And at the end of it, it's Yajirobe! I am not trying to crap on my boy Yajirobe. Yo, shout out to you. You saved the Saiyans early on in Z, but bro, it's Yajirobe. Like, he shouldn't be this nuts. They gotta nerf him to some extent, and I agree in the sense that the game should have a bit of an unbalanced element to it. Blue Gogeta should be nuts. Yajirobe, on the other hand, I don't believe should be nuts, but I think as far as Sparking Zero goes, the chaos is almost a draw to the game, so I hope that they keep an element of that chaos, but once things get a little too wild with Yajirobe, I hope they do scale it back a little bit. That's how I assess it being unbalanced. I don't expect this game to have a significant attention to every specific nuance. I don't think this is that game, and I think the majority of people that went into this game, at least being Tenkaichi fans, they weren't expecting that. Maybe there's some newcomers being like, oh, this needs to be balanced, oh my god, Blue Gogeta's insane, oh my god, this character's insane, so on and so forth. I do think we need to quell that a little bit with the expectation of this game just being absolute fine-tuned in that regard. Next up, this comment is coming from Adam QH8VF. Remember when games didn't get updates? Yeah, those were the days. Okay, so I agree with a lot of this notion. However, I think if we try to paint games all under the same umbrella of games didn't need updates and use it as one way to just say how gaming has gone bad, I feel like at that point you're getting out, well, back in my day, I feel like we're getting to that territory, and yes, it was great in the PlayStation 2 days when games were working, but at the same time, if we're talking about games not getting updates, games not getting DLC content, etc., etc., I don't know exactly what he's referencing. I think he's just talking about the Yajirobe patch and the update that is coming in, games not needing update. Guys, it's not like Tenkaichi shipped out of the box back in the day as this immaculate, perfect experience. Sure, you might look back at it with that, but if you were to release Tenkaichi now with the online discourse and it had online play, people would be bugging out about that game as well. Updates should be a good thing. You should be able to go and remedy some of the issues, and once you open up a game to a large amount of people, that's what should be done. Now, I do agree that there's the element of people shipping a broken product to meet release deadlines. I don't think Sparking Zero is that, and if we want to talk about DLC, oh, there's this overabundance of DLC, I agree with you that certain games, especially fighting games, do have insane amounts of DLC content. I talk about some of the modern business practices, such as the fake early access gimmick, which a lot of people did with Sparking Zero and paid $100. You also do get the season pass. However, if we want to talk about back in my day, Tenkaichi 1 came out in 2005, Tenkaichi 2 came out in 2006, Tenkaichi 3 came out in 2007, and you were spending $50 a pop for each of those games every year for the expanded roster. You guys get what I'm saying? It's a different climate, and I understand the need to monetize these games for years. Does the monetization get a little bit crazy with some of these games? Absolutely, but to completely look at the past through this rose-colored glass, and I love the Tenkaichi games. I love gaming from my heyday. I constantly talk about it. 2009, one of the best years for PlayStation ever, so on and so forth. Maybe I even live in the past a little bit too much, but I do think sometimes when we get like, oh, games didn't get updates and they were perfect right out the box, and maybe that's not what he's alluding to. Maybe they're talking about the charm of just having the game and being it is what it is, but I do think this is an element where there is truth to it, but also it gets pushed way too far, and I do think the nostalgia and looking at the past through a rose-colored glass absolutely has something in play. Again, I agree that there are games that are ship broken, but also games getting updates, games getting fixes, adjustments based on what the community wants. That can be a very good thing. It can also be a bad thing, let's not get it wrong, but I think just to say it's an outright bad thing and saying those were the days, not entirely valid, at least in my opinion. Next up, agree with this guy, Gavin Lopez 7302. They need to fix that character selection timer fast. Yes, they absolutely do need to fix that. It's these little issues that would go a long way about them adjusting it. You're talking potential 5v5 games and picking 5 characters. I think the timer's at 30 seconds right now. Should be a minute at least. They gotta fix that ASAP. I was playing with my boy the other day, and both of us, when I'm doing casual games with my boys, we're not like going super specific in terms of what characters we want to play as. We're trying out different characters, people just playing as randos from the movies and everything like that, and you take a little bit of time going through that roster because that roster is expansive. We should get that character select timer getting increased, and again, I don't believe there's a way to make the character selection timer unlimited in online play. If there is, let me know. But every time we've had that 30-second timer or whatever it is, maybe it's a little bit more than 30 seconds, but it's not enough time, let's say that. And Gavin Lopez, you're on the money. They need to adjust that ASAP, especially for casual games. If I'm just playing with my boy, I should be able to have an unlimited timer. That would make a lot of sense. All right, next up, Black Crow 9231. As far as difficult settings, I don't want lower difficulty settings. They feel completely fine. Let me assess that first. I agree with you. I don't want lower difficulty settings either, but I think the option of it being there, great. I think games should be playable for everyone, and if they find certain battles too hard, lowering the difficulty, I don't think is that big of a deal. You still have the option to go through the campaign outside of, checking out the what-if scenarios. What I would argue is I would love higher difficulty settings. I love how much talk there has been over the Grade 8 fight being so difficult, and as people are getting deeper and deeper, and it's created this online discourse, which I feel like has just promoted the game even more. Maybe it was from a standpoint of it being surprising at how difficult this game is, but I would argue, why not have an even more challenging option where people are really pushed? I wouldn't say the Grade 8 fight was something that was worth all of the discussion that it had. I beat him in 2 tries, a lot of people one-tried him, and a lot of people went into that fight after the discourse had been established online that he is so difficult, and were like, hey, is that it? However, I think that gave us a clear eye-opener that difficult battles could be a great thing, and I'm talking as somebody that hates the Souls games, hates difficult games, but the option to have a more challenging mode where it's like people are really pushed to the limit, and it's something streamers are playing and they're getting whooped. People want to see that kind of content, and I think ultimately that would just help promote the game. Black Crow continues with something I absolutely do agree with, however. What I do want is an adjustment of alternate conditions. Trying to beat Cell Jr. and Cell as SSJ2 Gohan in 1 minute is bonkers. Yeah, some of those scenarios to do the alternate conditions is very lame. Like, just having a limited time window to do it, I think that's the laziest form of applying alternate conditions. Just, oh, beat them this quickly. I actually like where it was like the decision-making, the narrative decision-making triggers alternate routes. I think that's kind of cool in that what-if scenario, but as far as gameplay design choices for the what-if scenarios, that could be pretty cool. The idea of, oh, just try to beat it as quickly as possible, not a big fan of that. Just seems lazy and thrown together, and yes, I would like an adjustment as far as that's concerned. At least lengthen that a little bit as far as how quickly you have to beat them. Next up, this is coming from TKP Kid, and this is in regards to my constant demand for cross-platform play. This person commented, PC will be fine. It literally has 55k players on right now and peaked at 122k this week. It'll probably have a longer lifespan than the PS5 version, especially with skin mods for PC. The people actually taking advantage of mods is a drop in the bucket from the overall amount of people playing the game. Yes, it's at 55k players right now, but every anime game falls off. Every game falls off. It's not just exclusive to anime games. At 122k, we've talked about how that's been an outstanding success. However, the player base will lessen, and at that point, there is going to be a little bit of concern. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. I think a year from now, it'll have a healthy amount of people. And you could look at Xenoverse 2 still having, I think it's like 2,000 concurrent players. You want a lot more people than that playing the game. And even if there's 55,000 people playing the game and it sustains that, even if it goes up to 200,000 players and it sustains that forever, guys, cross-platform play is a net positive across the board. I get that some of you guys are going to be like, well, I don't want to play with PC players. Generally speaking, the majority of cross-platform play titles have an option to turn cross-platform play off. At least have it as an option. If you don't want to do it for the ranked matches, fine. Have it as an option for the player matches, and let me, if I want to play the game on PC and my boys on PlayStation 5, let us play together. I know a lot of Xbox guys are concerned now that they bought the game on Xbox and there's some matchmaking issues that are being perceived as a lack of player issue. There isn't a lack of player issue now, but it's opened their eyes to the fact that that could be a reality. You know what would lessen that? By having cross-platform play. And I know some people are going to be like, you should have just bought the game on PS5. Some people already made their console decision this generation, and they shouldn't have the expectation to buy another console just to have the premier experience, or an experience with a longer lifespan. So many games have cross-platform play. I don't know what the issue is. Netcode, whatever, it's above my pay grade. If other studios have been able to figure it out, I don't see why Sparking Zero wouldn't be able to figure it out. It's just something that's available in so many games, and if you're talking about a game that you want to have longevity, that you want to have a lifespan attached to it for years and years, we're talking 8 to 10 years potentially, cross-platform play seems like a no-brainer to me, and it should be something that, yes, it is one aspect that I am critical of when it comes to Sparking Zero, but it's me being critical coming from a good place. It's something I imagine that they can figure out how to do, and it would improve the user experience, or worst case scenario, it would keep the user experience the same as long as they added an option to disable cross-platform play for those of you that are worried about PC having cheaters or whatever the case may be. Again, option to disable it. Space Marine 2 figured out cross-platform play. They just disabled it for the PvP because of the lack of parity across platforms. That's fine. If you want to do that, have it as an option for the player matches. I don't see any problem with that. And again, an option. That's all I want, an option. I'm not saying it's mandatory, but an option would be great. But that's gonna do it for me. We ended this video on me rambling on cross-platform play. There's a lot of other comments I do want to go through. A lot of people have brought interesting thoughts up and just issues that they've experienced. I'll try to get through as many as I can, and, you know, with these videos, I don't want these videos to go like an hour long. I could go an hour I literally have more comments in front of me right now that there's a lot of people bringing up interesting talking points, but I'll get to them over time. If you guys want to comment anything and it's something that seems to resonate with the audience, I'll look through the comments and I'll decide on which ones to do videos on, depending probably on like things like uploads and things of that nature. So yeah, that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.